afternoon and welcome to Bass Coast Shire Council meeting Wednesday 18th of March 2026. Please turn off all mobile telephones or in the case of an emergency please advise the Chair and switch to silent mode. We acknowledge the Bunurong as the traditional owners and custodians of the lands and waters and pay respect to their elders past, present and emerging. I'll now hand over to Councillor Jan Thompson to read the councillor statement, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. All members of this council pledge to the Bass Coast Shire community to consider every item listed on this agenda based on the individual merits of each item without bias or prejudice by maintaining an open mind and disregarding councillors' personal interests so as to avoid any conflict with our public duty. All councillors have a conflict of interest in any item will make a proper prior disclosure to the meeting and will not participate in the debate or vote on the issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Item 1 on the agenda is present and apologies. All councillors are present today and we have Councillor Edwards online. Item 2, declarations of interest. There are no declarations of interest. Item 3 is the confirmation of minutes council meeting held on the 4th of March 2026. Can I have a mover for the motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Bauer, seconder Councillor Temby. Sorry, Councillor Temby. A bit of a delayed response there, wasn't it? Does any councillor wish to speak regarding the minutes? No, we'll put that to the vote. Councillor Bauer, all those in favour? Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Edwards. That's perfect now. Thank you. Carried unanimously. Item 4 are the Mayor and Councillor reports. We will forego speaking to those reports today and they'll be forming part of the council minutes of today's meeting. We'll now go to item 5, which is public question time. I am going to read out the questions. I don't have anyone in the gallery who has put a question and wishes to put it to council themselves. No? Alrighty, so I'll read and our CEO, Mr Box, will respond. Question 1, Leander Michelle and Pierrette Bustani. Topic 158 Reed Crescent. Question 1, why has the developer, 158 Reed Crescent, proceeded with drainage works that are counter to this proposal? And question 2, was this proposal ever a serious consideration?
Through the Mayor, Council determined to issue a planning permit for the subdivision of land at 158 Reed Crescent at its council meeting on the 17th of September 2025. The developer has proceeded with works because this approval has been authorised. There is no recourse to alter or amend the proposal without the permit holder's consent. The petition tabled for consideration at last month's council meeting will be considered on its merits, with any outcome delivered needing to integrate with the developer's works.
Question 2, Philip Davey. Topic, nature strip planting. Council is demanding residents remove planted vegetation from some nature strip areas due to safety concerns. Why has Council allowed plantings at the intersection of the Esplanade and Batman Street Surf Beach that directly reduces safe intersection site distance and removes the ability to construct a concrete footpath at this location?
Through the Mayor, a permit was approved to plant out the nature strip in accordance with the local law. Low plantings are permitted and required to be maintained to not obstruct drivers' sightlines. Usual design processes will occur in relation to vegetation in road reserves should a road, drainage or footpath upgrade project occur in the future.
Question 3, John Kuzma. Topic, toilet block repair. Would Council please provide a progress report for the repair to the roof of the foreshore toilet block to the east of the Main Street Cows that has been closed by Council in early December 2025?
Through the Mayor, Council can advise that following a routine inspection last December, part of the Cows foreshore facility was closed as a precaution. Minor repairs have since been completed and the toilet facilities remain open and available for public use. A structural assessment has since been undertaken and the platform is now load limited for safety reasons. There are no immediate plans to renew the facility.
Question 4, Joe Warrillow. Topic, Wonthaggi Tip. Council is covering the old Wonthaggi tip and has been working towards completion. Please provide a progress report to date for this important project.
Through the Mayor, the Wonthaggi Old Landfill Capping Project is progressing well and remains on track for completion by the 30th of June 2026. For further information, please refer to Engage Bass Coast.
Question 5, Mario Boffa. Topic, what action... Oh, topic, there is no topic. Cowes Cultural and Community Centre is the topic. What action is Council taking to overcome the toilet pipe restriction in the Cowes Cultural and Community Centre where it has been found to have an obstruction under the library?
Through the Mayor, the building contractor has undertaken works to clear an obstruction that was caused during the construction phase, including camera investigations to verify the removal. Council will continue to monitor this for any future issues.
Question 6, Gina Rosa Malia. Topic is the shared pathway Wonthaggi to Inverloch. Please provide a progress report to the new shared pathway connecting Wonthaggi to Inverloch.
Through the Mayor, the works on the Wonthaggi Inverloch shared pathway remain on track for completion by June 2026. For further information, please refer to Engage Bass Coast.
Question 7, Ernie Westergaard. Topic, road signage. Phillip Island Road is 100% the responsibility of the Victorian Transport Authority, Regional Roads Victoria. Would Council please provide its own laws that prohibit signage from being displayed on the sides of the Phillip Island Road?
Through the Mayor, it is the zoning of the land on which a sign sits that determines planning permit requirements and restrictions. This is regulated through the Bass Coast Planning Scheme. Council has no plans to implement additional laws related to signage on edge of roads at this point in time.
Question 8, Bill Wilson. Topic, budget. During the first 6 months of the financial year 2025-26, Council overspent in cash $14.396 million, meaning Council's expenditure was $14.396 million more than the cash income. At the same time, the current liabilities reached $44.248 million. What is the plan to correct this situation?
Through the Mayor, it is noted that while Council's cash decreased by $14.36 million in the first half of the year, most of this is expected to be recovered in the second half as rates and charges are collected. By the 30th of June 2026, Council's cash shortfall is projected to reduce to $5.186 million. At the same time, current liabilities are forecast to fall with a forecast liquidity ratio of 1.5 as of the 30th of June 2026.
Question 9, Graham Jolly. Topic, Hilton Chadwick Reserve. When will the detailed design plan be made public for a new football oval to be built on the Hilton Chadwick Reserve or the Carnival Land in Cowes?
Through the Mayor, Council is currently working on the detailed designs for Stage 1 of the Phillip Island Sporting Precinct. The designs are anticipated to be completed in late 2026. For further information, please refer to Engage Bass Coast.
Question 10, John Kuzma. Topic, Kilcunda Foreshore. Would Council please advise the action Council is taking to rebuild the damaged beach entry stairs to the Kilcunda Foreshore?
Through the Mayor, the Kilcunda Beach access stairs that were damaged in October 2025 are on Crown Land Foreshore managed by Parks Victoria. Council is working with Parks Victoria to explore options for reinstating beach access from the rail trail to this section of the foreshore.
Question 11, Mario Boffa. Topic, Cowes Cultural Centre. Please provide details to the ongoing maintenance problem to the Cowes Cultural and Community Centre roof leak that has been a very concerning issue.
Through the Mayor, Council's maintenance team, with the assistance of a plumbing contractor, have undertaken maintenance works that have rectified 2 identified leaks. This will continue to be monitored.
Question 12, Joe Warrilow. Topic, Wonthaggi College. Council is investigating the old Wonthaggi College. Please provide a progress report.
Through the Mayor, Council officers have engaged a community reference group and are working through feasibility reports, opportunities and considerations with the group while awaiting the outcome of the application for federal government funding to support the development of a land use framework, partnership framework and a business case for the site. For further information, please refer to Engage Bass Coast.
Question 13, Gina Rosamalia. Topic, fuel. Local fuel supply is a major concern. Council's vehicle fleet and machinery consume large volumes of fuel. Will Council restrict and stop a number of its vehicles and machinery use that will help continuation of food deliveries into the Bass Coast Shire?
Through the Mayor. Council has not received any advice yet indicating that fuel supply is impacting food deliveries or other essential services into Bass Coast. Council itself provides essential services, many of which require the use of vehicles and machinery to deliver them to the community. Council will continue to monitor the situation and support the continuation of essential services, including food deliveries into Bass Coast.
Question 14, Graham Jolly. Topic, advocacy priorities. At the Council meeting 18th of February 2026, Council approved new advocacy priorities 2026 to 28 project plans. What progress has Council made towards the success to these listed priorities to date?
Through the Mayor, Council has advanced its advocacy priorities in several meetings with ministers, MPs and candidates. Further meetings are scheduled and Council looks forward to continued discussion with stakeholders leading into the 2026 state election and future state and federal budgets. For further information, please refer to Engage Bass Coast.
Question 15, Sue Chadwick. Topic, Chapel Street empty site. Could you please inform the community what plans Council have for the empty building site of the original kindergarten in Chapel Street?
Through the Mayor, the former Cows Kindergarten on Chapel Street is currently being utilised as a site compound for Council's contractors completing the Cows Foreshore Precinct construction works. In line with the Property Strategy 2025, investigations for future site options will occur once Council's contractor vacates the site.
And that, Mr Box, is it for our questions for today. Thank you all of those who submitted questions. And we will move to item 6, notices of motion, of which we have none. So straight over to item 7. Petitions, joint letters, deputations and correspondence. 7.1 is a petition, Save Silver Leaves. I have Mr Andrew Fellows in the gallery who would like to present his petition. Please come forward, Mr Fellows. If you could take a seat at the table there with the microphone, and you have 3 minutes to speak to your petition. Thank you.
Thank you for seeing me today. I don't need to probably say a lot because I think I've actually given you so much information over the last weeks.
Yes,
I almost have to apologise. But we've had a small discussion in the meeting room before, and what we need to find is the council to actually commit to actually trying to help. It's very tricky between government, council, because everyone blames each other, and it's all, but we need one commitment from the council to look at this seriously, and because it is such an easy fix. It's not a huge fix, it's not like a seawall, it is only, it's a very easy fix. I come from a commercial building background, and we move more material than you'd need in the whole thing in a week. So I really apologise for hounding everybody, because I have, but we really need you to seriously think and hopefully vote for something to move on. I have spoken to Simon Woodland, who's actually shown it to the engineers and have recognised that it's all legit and up, forthcoming. He's also showed it to DECA, but need a commitment from the council to actually push anything forward. I've spoken to Melbourne Water. We had a private meeting saying their commitment at the moment is there's no building, but if there's a commitment to actually fixing the problems, bringing them up to standards, because these levees were built in the 60s And council did work on the east end of the levees in the 70s because it flooded in through there. And the works that are needed to be done are they're not large works. And it could save a lot of people a lot of grief. So,
Thank you, Mr Fellows. Thank you for coming in, and you're certainly not bugging us. You're just putting forward your point of view, and councillors are always open to receiving it.
I started off in one spot and it was about me, but quickly I'd get dozens of phone calls every week from people that found out about me and about what I was looking for. And there's a lot of people out there that are desperate for something to happen. Financially, we've got retired people needing to sell their homes to move into retirement places, and land values keeps going down and down. There's 3 blocks, vacant blocks, which are all above flood levels, which could be easily developed. And there's probably multiple more. There's only 3 I know about, which are valued at over $2 million.
Thank you, Mr Fellows. I'm sorry we're out of time.
No, that's fine.
But if you'd like to take a seat back in the gallery,
Yep.
what I will do, councillors, is ask for a mover of the motion before you.
So moved.
Councillor Thompson and Councillor Bell, thank you. Would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Thompson?
I'd just like to move that we accept and table this petition. Thank you very much for bringing it to our attention, and we will definitely have a good look at it. Thank you.
I'll be very happy for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bell?
Yes, I second what Councillor Thompson said. We'll
Yeah.
table the petition and figure out what to do from
Yeah.
there.
And that's what we need. That's what
Thank you.
Silverleaves need.
Sorry, Mr Fellows.
That's all right.
Would any other councillor wish to speak on the matter before us? Councillor O'Brien, you're welcome to take a seat in the gallery now, Mr Fellows. Thank you.
Thanks. I don't like being in front.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Andrew. Look, yeah, I think that we as council, we're often in the firing line, and when there are decisions that we need to make, that in reality the repository of where the money is going to come from is from the state government. But I just like the Silverleaves community to know this, that we accept, that your problems are our problems, and there won't be anything slipping off the table. If we can get wins from the state government on this, even finding 500,000 or 700,000.
Just directing your comments to the Councillor O'Brien.
Is really difficult. I was just talking to, getting it to Andrew there. But even because we've been scun, we just keep getting scun by the state government. Now there is money in the budget. There's money coming through from the state and the feds around Silverleaves, and I just would like the Silverleaves people to know that we will take on their problem as our problem, because we are their community representatives, and we do understand the matters around around property values collapsing, around people being unable to build. It's not something that we don't understand. We do understand it, and we'll be having a darn good crack to fix it.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Is there any other councillor wishes to speak for or against? Councillor Thompson, are you happy to put to the vote?
Definitely. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All those in favour of the recommendation, councillors? That's carried. Thank you. Item 8.1 is the proposed sale of land, Adams Estate restructure allotments. Over to you, Ms Taylor, to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Council owns 4 residential allotments within the Adams Estate development near Grantville. The team at Council have conducted a review of the need for the lots, and they've been deemed surplus to Council need at this time. It is now proposed that Council resolves to commence the statutory processes associated with sale of the land upon identification of a suitable purchaser. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Taylor. Do I have a mover? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Temby second. Would you like to speak to the recommendation?
Yes,
Councillor
thank you,
Thompson?
Madam Mayor. I'd like to move that we sell this parcel of land as it is of no use to council and would result in funds that could be used for other programs in our future budgets. Council owns 4 of the 6 parcels of land under a restructure overlay. The original allotments of the subdivision in the Adams estate cannot be developed unless one owner acquires all the allotments within the restructure lot on the restructure plan and consolidate the allotments into one. It will then be a suitable size for the treatment of wastewater, and this will give an opportunity to the landowner of the adjoining lots to purchase the remaining 4 and consolidate. Council has no benefit to hold and it is surplus to our needs. Therefore, I move this motion to sell this parcel of land at current market price or more if we can. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Temby as seconder. Would you like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, in support of Councillor Thompson's comments, the consolidation of these blocks of land should occur to reduce the impact of septic system wastewater and to enable the natural environment of the area to be protected and maintained. The council-owned blocks of land cannot be built on and therefore are unlikely to increase in value. However, selling them to assist the consolidation of blocks ensures the maintenance of asset values and community amenity.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Is there any other councillor that wishes to speak to the motion before us? Councillor Thompson, would you like to
I would most certainly move it to the floor.
the vote? All those in favour of the recommendation? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. 8.2, draft dust suppression seal removal policy. Ms Taylor to introduce, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Between 2005 and 2007, dust suppression seals were trialled on unsealed roads across Bass Coast Shire. While these treatments initially provided short-term benefits, they have since deteriorated significantly. As a result, these roads no longer meet acceptable service standards. 30 roads across the municipality still retain trial dust suppression seals, impacting approximately 570 properties. To ensure the roads remain safe and usable for our community, the seals must now be removed. The purpose of this report is to present the draft dust suppression seal removal policy to Council for consideration and seek endorsement for community consultation. The policy provides a timeframe for removal of the seals and provides options for landowners to contribute to sealing of their road. Should the report be endorsed by Council, community consultation will occur from today until the 15th of April. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Taylor. Can I have a mover of the motion, please? Councillor Bauer, Councillor Bell as seconder. Councillor Bauer, would you like to introduce?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, fellow councillors and ratepayers watching this meeting. The dust suppression issue has been an ongoing problem for council and especially on our island as long as I've been a councillor. I commend the officers on this report and solution they are offering. In the last council, we tried to bring in a special charge scheme to overcome the problem and that failed. We now have a piecemeal approach to the special charge scheme in certain areas. What this agenda item is doing is giving the residents in the street where we have to rip up the failing sealant the opportunity to have new sealant put down at a very affordable price. Not the whole box of dice like a special charge scheme, but a workable solution. I hope this one-off $4,000 fee for the long-term gain will be taken up. However, it does have a hitch. All residents in the streets have to agree. That's like having all 6 numbers in Tats Lotto to win the jackpot. I believe we need to adjust the uptake to a much more realistic percentage for residents. The methods of collecting the $4,000 can be looked at. Council has many ways in which the residents can pay the debt. However, putting the repayments to one side, this is a one-time offer never to be repeated. This is a win-win-win for affected residents, and I hope it is adopted. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. Councillor Bell, would you like to speak?
Yeah, I also want to thank the council officers for coming up with a solution. 12 months ago, the community were loud and clear about not wanting their dust suppression seals removed, so it's really good, I think, to be able to present this work as a possible solution. Often council gets criticised for not listening to residents, or perhaps we listen but don't respond. And so I'd like to think that this plan shows that we have listened and that we are prepared to act. Of course, as Councillor Bell pointed out, it's perhaps not perfect and not everyone will be ecstatic about the solution, but in considering equity, accessibility and fairness for all residents across the whole Shire, I think this is a really reasonable plan. I also think it's important for us to emphasise that today does not mean the policy is a done deal. We're just putting it out to the community. We're saying that it's ready for the community to give us their feedback. It's only going out for consultation at this stage. So the community still have a month or so to tell us if they like it or not, and we will be taking that feedback on board as well.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Is there any other councillor that wishes to speak? Councillor
Thank you, Madam
Temby?
Mayor. This policy should be released for public comment as it seeks to formalise the process for property owners to contribute to decisions about upgrading their local roads in an equitable manner. My concern is that while the $4,000 cap is brilliant for ratepayers, it causes increased financial risk to council if extended time to pay is offered. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Any other councillor? Councillor O'Brien?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I think that we do need to underline that this is a consultation document, and I'd like to just to let ratepayers know that that having had discussions here with council officers, that that possibly part of that consultation may be that they may wish to lay-by the $4,000. We have to have it paid because there's no mechanism. There's no mechanism to collect that money if the work is done and then we can't then give a ratepayer a bill. We have to have it paid before it starts, but possibly using a lay-by. And in fact, you know, if the community came back to council and said, well, we've got works happening over 3 years, why not push it out to 4? My understanding is that council would look at that very closely. I think as council, you know, and as council representatives, we do need to understand that for many people, pulling $4,000 out of the back pocket is a really tough ask. And we have an ageing demographic. The average age of this demographic is nearly 16 years older than the rest of the state of Victoria, which means we've got a lot of people here on fixed incomes, a lot of people here who simply, when faced with a $4,000 bill, will not be able to do it. So if we can find creative ways to assist that, by creating a lay-by, well, and if that would suit you, well, make sure you get your you get that message across through this consultation process. The consultation process is short because, as I'm to understand it, it's got to be considered for the next budget. So we, you know, there's only a month there, but I think that there is still some flexibility, as I'm to understand it, that can be built into this.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Any other councillor? Given we haven't had any objections, I'm going to put that straight to the vote. All those in favour of the recommendation? That's carried. Thank you. 8.3. MAV State Council submission of motions. Mr Dillon, to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, and through the Mayor. This report seeks Council's endorsement of 4 motions for submission to the Municipal Association of Victoria's State Council meeting on the 29th of May 2026. The motions address key issues impacting Victorian councils, including inclusion of Lifesaving Victoria in the Emergency Services Volunteer Fund, regional bus network reform and public transport investment, financial sustainability of local government, and the planning amendment Better Decisions Made Faster Bill 2025. The recommendation is that Council endorse the 4 motions for submission to MAV and authorise officers to submit the endorsed motions to the MAV State Council meeting. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. I always stop, don't I, Mr Dillon, because I nearly called you Mr Doyle again.
That is okay. I must meet this Mr Doyle at some point.
All righty, do we have a mover? Councillor Morgan,
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I have an alternative.
you do have an alternative. What's the alternative without speaking to it, Councillor Morgan?
The alternative is as displayed on the screen.
All right, councillors, we have an alternative before us. Do I have a seconder for the alternative? Councillor Thompson. And do I put that to the vote now, Jade, or? Okay, Councillor Morgan, you can speak to the alternative now.
Thank you for the call. Look, this motion correctly calls on the state government to commit to long-term financial reform so local governments are sustainable into the future. We've all seen the cost shifting from the state and the funding well drying up at the same time. And that's exactly why I'm taking the idea that local councils should further increase rates on our constituents off the table. Because this is not our constituents' problem. This is not a local government problem. The long-term financial sustainability of local government in Victoria will live or die with the state government. Our residents are being squeezed by a state government too scared to implement a levy on bank profits, but all too happy to go after our farmers, forcing us to come in and implement a more generous farm rates differential just to counteract the state government's ESVF tax and keep our farmers afloat. Well, I'm not doing it again. The state has starved us of funding, but I'm not okay with passing that on to our ratepayers. We're here combing through every last dollar. But I'm not going to ask our residents for more when I know that the fat cats in Spring Street hold the levers to raise revenue without hurting people. We're being ripped off. Real wages are going backwards, rents are through the roof, and home ownership is increasingly out of reach, particularly for my generation. Billionaires and big corporations are getting richer while we struggle. We don't need to squeeze our neighbours. There's a lot more juice in the big 4 banks or Gina, Clive and Jerry. So yes, let's call on the state government to fund local councils properly. And let's call on them to do it by going after the billionaires, banks and big corporations, not school teachers, nurses and hospo workers. And I urge the papers not to write this up as a pipe dream. I want to finish my career with an economy where local councils can cut rates because our federal governments are no longer raising more revenue from taxing beer than our resource exports. I'm not here for a quick smash and grab or a cheeky little local council budget top-up. We need radical economic reform in this country. Local government sustainability is just one of the many things depending on it being achieved. Our residents need to climb off the hook, and we should be helping them, not casting more rods.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Thompson, can you top that?
No, I'll have what he said, thank you.
You don't wish to speak to it,
thank you
Councillor
very-
Thompson?
Thank you very much.
Is there any other councillor that would like to add to the debate on this matter? Remembering, councillors, that we have 4 motions before us.
The alternate's only got 2.
May I speak to the 4 motions, please?
Yeah, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yep, Ms Glenn, yes. So remembering, councillors, although Councillor Morgan has taken out one of the notices of motion, we are considering 4 notices of motion to go to the MAV State Council. So Councillor Thompson, yes, you're welcome to as
Thank you
seconder.
very much. I wish to move this report with a submission of 4 motions to the Municipal Association of Victoria to advocate on behalf of the state government. As to motion 1, nominate that a portion of the Emergency Services Volunteer Fund revenue go directly to Lifesaving Victoria. This organisation provides emergency support at our beaches and waterways and should be included under the ESV umbrella. We've recently had a request for funds of $260,000 from the Lifesaving Victoria to pay for their services along our 180 kilometres of coastline. We have actually paid a little less of $100,000 to support them. This is actually state government cost imposed onto councils. We seek structural reform to ensure Lifesaving Victoria receives a legislated and reliable funding allocation from the Emergency Services Volunteer Fund. instead of ratepayers footing the bill of another service that the Victorian Government has shifted responsibility on. Motion 2. As a peri-urban council, our growth is exceeding services. Feedback is negative to the current numbers of bus services. We need an investment from the state government that will ensure services keep up with population growth, increase in tourism and residents requiring a more functional and reliable network. Motion 3. The Victorian Government must understand the anomaly between councils all servicing under one general rate cap. Current rate cap of 2.75 does not measure to the Consumer Price Index at 3.8%. Therefore, we are further behind financially each year. We have a rating equity issue, with increased council costs over the last 5 years and not matching the CPI. The cost of capital works renewal and upgrading of infrastructure assets is causing stress on our budget. The rate cap over the past 5 years has been substantially lower than inflation. We are cutting back on capital works and services to balance our budget. I therefore wish for the MAV to advocate on our behalf for monetary relief from the state government and not burden our ratepayers. Motion 4, planning amendment, Better Decisions Made Faster Bill 2025. This bill was implemented without council's consultation. This bill reduces transparency and community trust. Residents do not have the opportunity to be part of these planning decisions. Environmental safeguards have been lost to the detriment of our community. We request MAV advocates on behalf of our residents to ensure the needs of all, including fauna, animals and the environment in the Shire of Bass Coast, that we are included in decision-making in multiple forums of state government and endorsing advocacy priorities on behalf of all Bass Coast residents. How much more does this state government expect our residents to carry and fill their debt void? Enough is enough. I move this motion, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Councillors, given the number of individual advocacy motions within this recommendation, I'm going to suspend our usual speaking time limits and allow all councillors 5 minutes to speak to this item. So with that, Councillor Thompson, you did well. Yours was only 3 minutes. But I will now invite any other speakers to the motion. Councillor Bauer and then Councillor Temby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, fellow councillors and ratepayers watching this meeting. I'm going to concentrate on the third part of this motion, motion 3. Both parts of motion 3 are a cry for help, not only by our council, but as far as I'm aware, all Victorian councils. The elephant in the room is the rate cap or the fair go rate system. This was introduced in 2016. It was a different world then. The amount of money raised by the rates then offset the programs that councils undertook. Climate change was only spoken in the world of the greenies, and the inflation dragon was not the beast it is today. The word COVID wasn't even known. Since COVID, we're living in a different world. The costs of raw materials, construction costs, wages, the implementation of programs, and even those mandated by the state government have outstripped the money we have raised by the rates. Nearly all initiatives undertaken by council require assistance from the state government, otherwise it would not be possible to implement them. To put it bluntly, the revenue raised falls far short of the expenses of council. It's easier to say that we waste money on woke issues, but that is too simplistic. The programs which we undertake are a direct response to our community and engagement sessions. The amount of programs that the state government is pushing on council and thereby cost shifting from the state government to council is alarming. The government takes it off the bottom line, their bottom line, and from their bottom line, we struggle with finite resources, and it goes to our bottom line. The outcome is that the line item is below our bottom line, on our bottom line. We then run a deficit and get blamed by the community for not reining in debt. It is a no-win situation for council. Are we more than rates, roads and rubbish? Yes, we are. Yes, we are, councillor. But we can't even afford those fundamental services without a waste levy. If we can't get the rate cap raised, we'll have to go more and more often to Treasury and get loans to fulfil our programs. In short, the state will be taking from the left hand to pay the right hand. Everyone's a loser. Fellow councillors, the ratepayers watching this meeting, these motions are not grandstanding. These 4 motions are what we want to take to the MAV, are a clarion call. By adopting these motions, we are telling the honourable members of Spring Street that we are having our financial viability choked out of us. This is a state government problem. Deal with it. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. Councillor Temby?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We need to support all 4 of these motions to the MAV. Lifesaving Victoria is a critical emergency response organisation and equal but different to the CFA, ambulance service, police, etc. It should be recognised and supported through the ESVF so that it can continue to help save more lives along our sometimes dangerous coastlines and waterways. On motion 2, we need the state government to conduct a comprehensive review of regional bus services in peri-urban and coastal municipalities and to fund improved services, frequency, accessibility, connectivity and timetable integration within growth areas that do not have rail access. Hopefully this motion will help us to improve and integrate our transport options with other transport services in our region and across Victoria. Motion 3. Our current rate cap is steadily reducing our Shire's capacity to provide the services our community expects and we would like to provide. The state government needs to provide financial relief to councils such as ours who have suffered significant cost pressures as they face ever-increasing costs associated with natural disasters and climate adaptation works. These costs will only increase as our man-made climate change impacts continue to put future generations in jeopardy. This motion aims to seek some financial resolution of this increasing problem. The fossil fuel industry and their supporters should be the ones paying these costs. Motion 4. This bill must be reviewed and reformed, the planning amendment, Better Decisions Made Faster bill. It was introduced without consultation with local government. It reduces transparency, it reduces community trust in planning systems, it provides fast-track pathways that override environmental and related safeguards, and it does not take into account regional and coastal risks that our Shire faces. On top of that, it increases council costs, it increases the angst of our ratepayers, and it significantly reduces our ability to do anything about it. It is wrong, it needs to be changed. All 4 motions should be supported.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Any of the councillors who haven't yet spoken wish to speak? Councillor Bell?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I have you, Councillor Edwards. I'll call you once Councillor Bell has finished. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to support the alternative to remove that point B from the motion 3. I despair when I look at our budget and all the work that has to be done in this Shire, and I just can't see how it's possible with the current amount of money we have to work with. The community's demanding pools, recreation facilities, sealed roads and other basic community amenities, but the costs of construction are ridiculous and the current world events means that it's likely to blow out further. And let's not forget that once we build something new, we have to maintain it, so that's continuously adding to our operational budget. And we only have 120 million a year. I have recently joined the illustrious ranks of a ratepayer, and so I am definitely now with the community in not particularly wanting a rate rise. And it's not, as Councillor Morgan said, it is not up to us and our community to fund the state government's mismanagement. The state government always seems to want us to continue to add services, and they should be the ones to find the money for those services or pay for it themselves. Either way, we all pay enough taxes, levies, fees, etc. And if the state is unable to manage its budget appropriately, it should not be up to us to pick up the tab. Households throughout the world are figuring out how to manage their budgets with this cost of living crisis that is continuing to escalate, and the state government just needs to do the same and figure out how to live within their means. We don't renovate our houses when we don't have finance, and the state government continues these massive infrastructure projects in Melbourne while crying poor to the regions. I also wanted just to talk about the public transport motion 2. Because the state of public transport in Bass Coast is deplorable, I commute from Cowes to Wonthaggi most days, working typical work hours, and it is baffling to me that I cannot get a bus to and from work. This past week has shown the dire need for decent public transport. In Melbourne, workers are being encouraged to use public transport as fuel prices rise. In the regions, we already pay a bit of a higher price for petrol, and we do not have an option but to drive. It's not even about this hopefully short-term situation of current fuel price increases. It's about the long-term impact of the climate on the climate, of having a population reliant on fuel to get anywhere. It's also about safety, tired commuters on the roads at risk of accidents, roadkill. It's also about our youth who cannot participate in extracurricular activities without relying on their parents to drive them around. Last time I took a bus up to Melbourne, when I was coming home, back to Cowes, they had to put a second bus on. V-Line had one waiting, so that told me that this is not unexpected. Probably it happens often. Surely there is enough proof of concept to show that we have the demand in our shire for increased public transport. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Councillor Edwards, you'd like to add to the debate?
Thank you, and not unusually I might have some different perspectives. I'll go through them. 8.1, I have concerns about this motion, not the intent of it. Our life-saving services definitely need funding, but this motion is it is referring to the funded lifesavers that are not the volunteer clubs. So let's clarify that out, that it is not our volunteer life-saving clubs are not at risk by the funding. It's a lifesavers who are funded by Lifesaving Victoria directly, or that comes, they're employed by Lifesaving Victoria and funded currently by councils. And I'm not against that whatsoever, but this is, to me, linking it to the ESB, which is an unjust tax that the MAV was unsuccessful in advocating against, should not be coupled with this. For one, there hasn't been formal consultation to my knowledge with the LSV on this, and the conversations that I've had with members of LSV are certainly not in favour emergency services like the others under the ESB are. We've seen the damage that's been done to the CFA over the last number of years via this mix of volunteer and paid firefighters, and we certainly don't want to see that happen to the LSV, which is a valued service to our community. So this is a funding issue, but I would hate to see it linked to the ESB, and I think we need to step back from this and say, okay, what is the effective way for the LSV to be able to retain their independence from not being a statutory authority, to get them the funding that they need? And this is core state government business, and it shouldn't be via a special hideous tax that just affects farmers disproportionately to others. It is a core factor of government business that should be funded appropriately through that. And so I'm not saying that council should necessarily foot the bill, but the ESB is the wrong vehicle for it to be coupled to. In terms of 8.2, yes, we can always advocate for more public transport, but as somebody who uses public transport and always has a lot myself personally, particularly over the last month when I've only just started driving in the last week for 2 months, and even prior to that I use public transport whenever I can, back and forth to Melbourne or to even going between Inverloch and Wonthaggi or to wherever I'm going. I always look up first, is there an option that will get me there? We haven't got a perfect system that operates at the level of Metro Melbourne, absolutely agreed with that. It could alwagies be improved, but it has been improved significantly since the years of when the train services stopped in the early mid-80s to Gippsland. It has, which to be honest, I used and didn't as a young person. And were not widely used. They were unsafe. You could be on a train and have only 1 or 2 people there, and a lot of people are advocating for the train to come back when it wasn't used, when it was in the region. The bus services that we've got are highly improved from what we had many years ago and continue to improve. And I think we need to be a little bit realistic with, are we walking the talk? Are we using the public transport where we can now as individuals, as councillors, as council staff? Are we walking that talk? Are we having the impact environmentally and economically that we would like to have before we start to advocate for something that we're not using personally as a collective body. Could we be advocating for the ability to have bikes and scooters be able to be transported on buses? That would be a sensible thing. I'm not saying not advocate for more public transport, but we need to value what we've had already improved and recognise that we're not utilising it as much as we possibly could. And there's also been recent studies done within the last 5 years on transport studies. So are we just going for more and more studies instead of actually looking for outcomes there? I know in some of our neighbouring shires, they've got some community solutions that have been trialled and utilised in some of the smaller outlying areas. So I would just sort of think it's a little bit hypocritical for us if we're not all using it ourselves. And certainly, it's good use of time. If you're going to a meeting in the CBD, why on earth is somebody taking a car? In most instances, you can get back there and back. 8.3. Again, I'm not.
Councillor Edwards, we're down to 20 seconds.
Okay, we need to walk the talk again there. The MAV and council, I don't feel that we're being prudent enough in our economics to ask that to rebuild our economy, it's not going to be through higher taxes, it's going to be through getting out of the way and lowering those. And 8.4, while I agree with the sentiment and I'm actually going to in favour of that one motion, again, I feel it's hypocritical when as part of the Delhi SPP, I was the only councillor to vote against that last year, which handed over some of our decision making to external bodies more than we've had in the past. So for us to now advocate that we don't like having some of this stuff is when we've actually forfeited it voluntarily as a council, I think is incongruent. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. We went a little bit over, but that's okay. Any other councillor wish to speak? Alrighty, so, sorry, Councillor O'Brien.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was going to contribute with my silence, but I will say something. Look, it's basically an omnibus motion, really. I mean, we've got a whole lot of things, packed there into the one motion. I think that in terms of taking this as an advocacy position to MAV, where there will be further discussion, where there will be further refinement, it doesn't have the dangers that it might otherwise have. I think that in Councillor Morgan's manifesto, there was that he did in fact hit the nail on the head, and it is really difficult to see. It's really difficult to see where what happens in Spring Street. Rather, they find it very difficult to see outside of into regional Victoria, and to see that the problems that we're having with all of these things in regional Victoria. If it can't be seen from a Spring Street window, it does not appear to exist. And with so much money being invested into transport around Melbourne and into roads and holes dug in the ground, basically, and yet we still drive on goat tracks. We do have there are huge gaps in the bus service. I occasionally take the bus to Melbourne, and look, these things just seem to be borne by regional councils. And on the very last one, the planning amendment on motion 4, this notion of a one-size-fits-all planning policy, as if the planning policy for a house in Fitzroy is the same as is the same policy that sits over a block of land here in Cowes, is absolutely nonsense. Our needs are greatly different, and the retention of tree canopy, all of those sorts of things, which the new planning rules around building work against. It's much easier to get planning permission for more roofs to go in and for trees to come out. That's not consistent with what we want to do here in this natural attraction. We want to retain our canopy covers, and this one-size-fits-all planning policy is a mistake by the state government. It's brewed up in Spring Street, and it really doesn't fit when placed across the whole Shire. So I support this. I just see it as an omnibus. I see it as something that there'll be a lot more discussion about. But you know, it's absolutely true that regional councils, I mean, we're really feeling the pinch, and we expect more of the state government. If it's time to storm the Bastille, we'll be right behind you, Councillor Morgan.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Councillor Tassari, you're the only one who hasn't spoke. Are you happy to forego?
I will say a couple of things if I can, Madam Mayor, only because I don't want to be the only one that hasn't. I totally, having previously quite a lot of years ago sat on the MAV, I went in there a little bit sceptical of what they could actually achieve. But a united voice of 79 councils makes a big difference. So I'm a big advocate for that. There's no doubt the ESV, that tax that was put on all local governments, was an overreach. I was going to say something else, but I'll keep it to an overreach by the state government, and they quickly realised and backed off really quickly. But that tax, which is supposed to go to new to the emergency services for new equipment, you go to the Inverloch Fire Brigade, where I was 3.5 years ago. I went there, and there was their pumper there had rust holes in that big that you could put your fist through it. Now they've got the same pumper has rust holes that big that you can put your foot through it. Where's the money going to? It's not going to the emergency services that need it. So to get the Life Saving Club aligned with that, I think it's important. They gave us, we helped contribute to them, and the amount that they are expecting the local government to contribute next year or this year was something like 160% higher. Can't go on. It can't go on. It is an essential state service, and it should be handled by the state government. The public transport, I've spoken before about the public transport, and I don't disagree with some of the things said by Councillor Edwards, but I do disagree with the fact that being hypocritical, we don't use it. I don't go into the library either, but I vote to pay for the library because our community wants the library. So we don't always vote for what we use and what we don't use. We vote to support the community. So our community has cried out consistently about the lack of public transport. So I 100% support that as well. And Councillor Morgan, I definitely could not put it anywhere near as well as what you did, but it's time that we start pushing back against some of these things, and I endorse these motions.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Now we go back to you, Councillor Morgan. You've got 2 minutes.
2 whole minutes. Okay, well, I'll focus on public transport then, because I think it's absolutely essential that we advocate for better public transport funding. People use public transport when the services are reliable. Councillor Bell just said that she can't get between Cows and Wonthaggi. People can't go to the footy or go out on the weekend because services end too early in the night. People have been left stranded overnight at the Anderson roundabout. I've been on the V-Line coach when it pulls into Kui Rup and the driver has had to ask people to get off the bus in order to grab a taxi because there's not enough seats. We have petrol prices going through the roof. We need to reduce reliance on petrol cars. That means regional public transport investment, active travel investment, public EV charging infrastructure. Endless road expansions and continued reliance on fossil fuels leaves us at the mercy of madmen on the other side of the world.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan.
Well said.
Now we have 2 options, councillors. In accordance with the governance rules, I can put the motion to the vote in parts, and I think that might be the best way for us to tackle this big recommendation. So what I'll do is now put the motion to you in part. Now, part 1 is on the screen. Sorry. And that is for council to endorse, part 1, yes, the following motion 1, which is the Emergency Services Volunteer Fund. Yes, I think I need to go via the screen. Okay, so all councillors in support of motion 1. All right, that's carried. Thank you, councillors. We'll now go.
Can we just ask against? I think Councillor Edwards was against.
Councillor Edwards, were you an against vote on that one? Yeah. Okay.
Call a division.
Okay. All those in favour? Councillor Tassari, Councillor Temby, Councillor Bauer, Councillor O'Brien, Councillor Bell, Councillor Morgan, Councillor Thompson, Councillor Halstead. All those against? Councillor Edwards. That's carried. Thank you. Part 2 is motion 2. That's also on the screen now, councillors, and it is in relation to the transport. All those in favour of the motion? And that's carried. Thank you, councillors. Part 3, motion 3. It's on the screen in front of you again. All right, all those in favour? All those against?
Call a division.
All right, all those in favour? Councillor Tassari, Councillor Temby, Councillor Bauer, Councillor O'Brien, Councillor Bell, Councillor Morgan, Councillor Thompson, Councillor Halstead. All those against? Councillor Edwards. That's carried. Thank you. Part 4, motion 4 is before you on the screen, councillors. Put that to the vote. All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you, councillors.
Madam Chairman, Madam Mayor, can we put votes carried by unanimously carried?
Yes. All right, councillors, can we register that as unanimous? Thank you. All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda, councillors, 8.4.
Excuse me, point of order. Can I just clarify that total motion, the 4 motions there, they weren't all unanimous? So it was...
No, just the last one, Councillor Edwards.
Yep, okay. So the 4 were a mix. Yep, okay. Thank you.
Yes, that has been documented. Thank you, Councillor Edwards. All right, councillors, 8.1 is curbside glass recycling service. Mr. Dillon to introduce, please.
8.4, yes. Thank you, and through the Mayor. This report provides an update on the Victorian Government's mandated separate glass collection service, commonly known as the Purple Bin, which is required to be implemented by the 1st of July 2027. Council has reviewed the financial, environmental and operational implications, with current modelling indicating substantial capital costs of $3 million and an estimated waste charge increase of $36 to $42 per household annually. 35 Victorian councils are collaborating to advocate for the government to reconsider this mandate. The recommendation is the council oppose the implementation in its current form, support the collaborative advocacy effort, and authorise the Mayor and the CEO to advocate this position through direct engagement with the Victorian Government. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. I have a mover, Councillor Thompson, seconder, Councillor Tassari. Councillor Thompson to introduce, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wish to move this report to be accepted and advocacy implemented. This is another prime example of our state government wasting our time and dollars. We do not need another bin, purple or any other colour of the rainbow. There are provisions already in place for the collection of some types of glass. However, with a review and update, these collection bins could accept all glass instead of implementing another bin upon our residents. The container deposit scheme has been very well received and utilised. All glass could be deposited in these bins at a much less cost than the estimated $3 million to the council, i.e. ratepayers, to provide purple bins, which is approximately up to $42 extra for each household per annum on their rates. This is a total waste of time, energy and money. It is another cost impost that we are being urged to pass on to our ratepayers by the state government. We have far more important services that require funding than another bin. I therefore support the Mayor and CEO to advocate our position along with another 34 councillors who also oppose this impost on their residents, and to the Victorian Government to reconsider this service. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Tassari.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and well said, Councillor Thompson. Being in a delegation that went to Spring Street not that long ago, and speaking to different departments, and I think it was the local government minister that understands that this is this is a burden to all local governments and one that probably isn't needed. He has heard it time and time again. They understand the difficulties that we are going through. He also understood that the massive success of the container scheme means that this probably isn't warranted. So it's another one of those things that was done back in the day and was probably warranted back in the day when it was floated. But the scheme that's out there now works that well, that this is no longer needed. So rather than knock it on the head and show that, okay, we might have got it wrong, and them to actually take a step back, they're going through the motions anyway, and here we are now having to push back once again to save dollars rather than waste dollars on something that's not needed. So completely endorse this recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. I've had hands going up all over the place, so I'll go straight to Councillor Temby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The curbside glass collection service should not go ahead. The state government introduced its somewhat limited recycling process, and many community groups earn funds by ensuring glass is recycled using that process. That makes this service basically redundant. I understand that it would cost our Shire in excess of $3 million to provide all the bins, additional vehicles and wages to do the collection, and greater costs to ratepayers. So not only is the process basically unnecessary, it would be financially irresponsible to require us to implement it. We need to be provided with greater flexibility to ensure that our waste collection services are financially viable, efficient, effective and environmentally acceptable. In its current format, the curbside glass collection service does not meet any of these criteria and should be reconsidered.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Councillor Bauer.
Madam Mayor, fellow councillors and ratepayers watching this meeting, I'm not going to mention the red bin. This initiative from the state government is the epitome of overkill and adding even more stress to our inadequate income stream and unnecessary stress on our residents. The introduction of the money buyback recycling centres, if upgraded to take glass bottles, will make the purple bin superfluous. The yellow recycling bin is more than adequate. Beside the issue of adding this new bin into the collection cycle, in some cases, where are the residents even going to store the new bin? We've had enough stress on our waste levy without the introduction of this purple bin. The Allen government can shout until they're purple in the face. We say no.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. Councillor Morgan.
Thank you very much. A good government changes their position when circumstances make their previous position untenable. The container deposit scheme clearly removes the need for a glass-specific curbside bin. Will it be the end of the world if the state government continues with their mandated rollout of these bins? No, but it'll be expensive. And will it provide benefit to our community or environment? No, I don't think it'll do that either. If the government was serious about reducing waste, it would be mandating standardised reusable packaging. How many Vegemite jars are being melted down using expensive fossil fuels just to be turned back into new Vegemite jars? We do standardised reusable packaging with beer kegs. We've done it before with glass milk bottles. I'm holding a perfect example of it right here. We don't need to fill more bins with glass. We need to stop making single-use packaging just because it's cheaper for the supermarket duopoly.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Any other councillors wish to add? Councillor Edwards.
Just that I concur with everything that everybody said, and I just really question, the legislators and policymakers with this policy of the unenvironmental and uneconomic purple bin, they must have very different drinking habits to me. If they can fill a purple bin once a month with glass bottles, it would take me a whole term at least to do that of council, to fill one bin. So I just really question why the pushback, why they're pushing this out when it has no real beneficial benefit to anybody in the community. And an alternative could have been, or could still be, that there's a communal spot somewhere for a purple bin in a park in each town or something like that. Instead of putting more trucks on the road, more plastic in the bins, more, just the whole cost all around, environmentally and economically. I concur with everything that everybody's said, and this is one that is just proving that they do not listen and perhaps maybe need to get off the bottle themselves.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. No further comments, councillors?
Not going to touch it.
Given we don't have any objection to this one, I'm going to put it straight to the vote. All those in favour? And that's carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. All right, next on our agenda, 8.5, award of tender, construction Thompson Reserve Pavilion, Inverloch. Mr Dillon, please.
Thank you, and through the Mayor. This report presents the outcome of our tender evaluation for the construction of Thomas Reserve Pavilion in Inverloch. 5 conforming tenders were received, and the evaluation panel assessed Kubal Construction Pty Limited as providing the best value for money, with a contract sum of $1,657,624, excluding GST. This project received $1 million in grant funding from the Regional Community Sports Infrastructure Fund. The recommendation is the Council accept the tender from Kubal Constructions and authorise the Chief Executive Officer to execute the contract. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. Looking for a mover. Councillor Morgan, seconder.
Oh, he beat me.
Councillor Tassari. Councillor Morgan, do you wish to speak?
Yeah, you got to be quick on those reflexes when we're talking about sport, Councillor Tassari.
I'm getting old.
This is a wonderful investment in local community sport. We know that this is one of the best things that we can do for our health is prevention, and keeping people active and fit and working within their community is wonderful. The wonderful Inverloch Stars down at Thompson Reserve, I'm sure will enjoy the investment in their footy club. I would also like to take this opportunity to make a very important announcement that the Inverloch Stars under 14s are looking for a few extra players to join their team this season. So if your kid enjoys soccer and wants to build their skills, stay active and be part of a great team, it's a good group of kids and a really enjoyable environment to play in. So if anyone's interested or wants more info, feel free to get in touch on 0438582010.
Thank you, Councillor. We're now providing advertisements via the council chamber. We'll let that one slip through to the keeper. No pun intended. Councillor Tassari.
That was funny. It's also the home of the Stingrays, the cricket club as well, who are playing in the A, B and C, are all playing finals this weekend. And I believe their girls' cricket side won their 3rd premiership in a row. So the Stingrays Cricket Club, very, very famous club as well. This is, in all seriousness, this is a fantastic result. And the state government has copped a couple of kicks so far today, but this is where we give them a bit of a pat on the back as well, because $1 million of this has come from the state government. So thank you to our hard-working MP who went and knocked on doors and got this funding for this great community building that is desperately needed. And anyone that's had the chance to walk through the building that is actually there now, we're actually not allowed to walk through it anymore because I think most of it is condemned and about to come down. So it's very, very needed. It's a great result for the Inverloch community. One little note that I will say is I note that the construction company that has got this tender isn't a local to Bass Coast, but is a construction company that we have used before and have done a fantastic job. So I'm confident in the job that will do, but it's just a little bit disappointing there's not more local companies putting in for these jobs.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Councillor Temby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Bass Coast Shire Council have a robust tender evaluation process, and Kubal Constructions Proprietary Limited provided the best tender. The facilities are important improvements for our sporting and other groups using Thompson Reserve. We should accept the tender, and hopefully most of the work can be done by local contractors under Kubali's auspices.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Any other councillor? Councillor Bell?
Yeah, I'm really happy for this as well. We head over to Inverloch several times a year for my son to play soccer, and they have to deal with portable toilets and a small building that deals with long canteen queues, and it's pretty dingy, so it's pretty miserable on a winter morning. So this will be really nice to be able to enjoy the facility, and I hope that there's $1 million or more in grant funding to come to cows next.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Little plug in there for cows again. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Edwards?
Yeah, just like to endorse everything that has been said already, particularly Councillor Tazari and Councillor Tenby's comments around the local contracting. I understand we did have local contractors, but in terms of how it's weighted, the Kibali were chosen in the end, but we certainly do want to see as much local input as we can going forward because it adds to our economy as well. Given that my son started his soccer career, who's now 12, he started his soccer career at Inverloch Stars. This is very close to home for us, and I think it's fantastic news that this is happening. I'm sure that perhaps Councillor Morgan was asked to join the under-14s and he had to give his age, proof of age. Sorry, I'm too old for the under-14s, even though he's younger than the rest of us. So hopefully they can fill that team up and use these new facilities, which are much needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Any further comments, councillors? We get so excited when we do this, don't we, sporting clubs? It's great. All right, let's just put that to the vote. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. 8.6 is the procurement policy. Mr Dillon to introduce, please.
Thank you, and through the Mayor, this report presents the revised procurement policy for Council's adoption. Since adopting our 2023 policy, we've successfully implemented key changes and identified opportunities for further refinement, including extensive adoption of the MAV procurement policy template, which is specifically designed to streamline procurement processes for Victorian local councils. The recommendation is the Council adopts the procurement policy 2026. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Doyle. Can I have a mover?
Dylan.
Oh, gosh, I did it. Sorry. Thank you, Mr Dillon. I was trying to get through one meeting without messing it up. Councillor Temby and a seconder. Councillor Thompson. Councillor Temby to introduce.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Our revised procurement policy is a comprehensive document. It assists us to meet legislative obligations and local needs with minimised risk and in an efficient and financially responsible manner. The delegations are necessary and appropriate for efficiency, yet maintain accountability, transparency and oversight arrangements. I'm comfortable with it. We should support its adoption and implementation.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. As seconder, Councillor Thompson.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I endorse Councillor Temby's comments and wish to move this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Any further comments from the floor? Councillor Edwards.
So I just took a moment there. While I'm not against the motion, I just will raise some concern. I think the limits are significant. I would have been more comfortable to see the limitations at every level of delegation of procurement to be significantly less than what they are. But in saying that, I'm not voting against the motion either.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Anything further from the floor? We'll put that to the vote, Councillor Temby.
Yes, thank you.
All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you, councillors. Item 8.7, review of instrument of delegation council to Chief Executive Officer. Mr Dillon, please.
Thank you, and through the Mayor, this report recommends the Council review and adopt the instrument of delegation from Council to Chief Executive Officer. In accordance with the Local Government Act 2020, instruments of delegation must be reviewed within 12 months after a general election. The attached instrument has been revised to provide greater clarity, intent and alignment with our procurement policy, with changes made to delegation thresholds and contract limits. The recommendation is the Council delegates powers, duties and functions to the Chief Executive Officer as set out in the attached instrument, with the instrument coming into force immediately upon affixing the Common Seal, and that all previous delegations to the Chief Executive Officer be revoked. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. A mover, please. Councillor Temby, seconder. Councillor Thompson. Councillor Temby, we wish to speak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In compliance with our procurement policy, the CEO needs to have delegated power to make decisions on our behalf where necessary. These delegations are significant but have agreed limits and should be supported to enable our council to continue to function efficiently.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Councillor Thompson, do you wish to add?
I just wish to also endorse councillor Tenby's comments. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Thompson. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Bauer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, fellow councillors and ratepayers watching this meeting. Firstly, I'd like to stress what I'm about to say is in no way a reflection on our CEO, Mr. Box, or his conductor. Please accept that. $1 million is $1 million. Even if the expenditure is in the budget, we should follow due process and bring the expenditure into the chamber for approval. The budget is one thing, the actual spending is another thing. We owe it to our community to approve such large expenditure amounts. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Bauer. Councillor Edwards?
Yeah, I have some concerns also around the 20%, find the wording of it, in the conditions and limitations, point 1.3, making any contract extension that exceeds 20%. That's a very excessive amount above any contract. So I haven't spoken with Councillor Bauer prior to this meeting about this issue, but I'm sensing that we might share some concerns around the extent of the delegation, and it's not a personal reflection on any individual. It's about the role and our responsibility as councillors in these big chunky contracts, I guess, to both keep the expenditure that when it goes above budget in check, and to have these big ticket things coming before the public via council meeting as well.
Thank you, councillor Edwards. Does any other councillor wish to add? I'm going to give councillor Temby a right of reply, given we have had some objection. Councillor Temby, did you wish to?
No, I think put it to the vote.
Put it to the vote. All those in favour of the recommendation? All those against? Thank you. That is carried. 8.8, complaint handling policy. Mr. Dillon to introduce, please.
Thank you. And through the Mayor, this report presents the reviewed and revised complaint handling policy for council adoption. The policy has been reviewed to ensure ongoing compliance with the Local Government Act 2020 and addresses identified gaps. Key improvements include clearer explanation of what qualifies as a complaint, revised complaint types and handling stages, enhancing clarity on roles and responsibilities, new sections addressing contractor performance complaints and unreasonable complainant conduct, and updated external agency contact information. The recommendation is that Council adopts the revised complaint handling policy. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Can I have a mover? Councillor Tassari, seconder. Councillor Temby. Councillor Tassari.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Happy to endorse this policy. At the end of the day, though, any complaint is one of the biggest complaints you hear, and any complaint can be handled with a little bit of better communication. So I think to go with the policy and understanding that communication is key, and and be willing to improve your communication will go a long way to handling any complaint that comes forward. Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Does any other councillor wish to add?
You have anything to say, Councillor Temby?
Yeah, I will actually.
Councillor Temby?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, I totally support the first step that Councillor Tassari's outlined, that we should be discussing things as soon as the concern crops up. But, you know, a complaint handling policy should exist in all organisations to assist prompt resolution of concerns. This revision helps to clarify several points that should be adopted.
Thank you. I did miss you as seconder, didn't I? Any other councillors wish to speak on this one, or we go to the vote? Councillor?
Put it to a vote, Madam Mayor.
All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. 8.9, internal dispute resolution procedure. Ms Taylor to introduce, please.
Mr. Dillon.
8.9? Sorry, Mr.
That's okay.
Dillon.
That's okay. Thank you. And through the Mayor, this report presents the reviewed and revised internal dispute resolution procedure for council adoption. Following the Local Government Amendments, Governance and Integrity Act 2024 and recommendations for the Commission of Inquiry into Whittlesea City Council, the procedure has been updated to incorporate additional mediation steps using external mediators. This procedure is required under the Section 140 of the Local Government Act 2020 to deal with alleged breaches of the Model Councillor Code of Conduct and is designed to minimise cost disruptions while enabling effective working relationships between councillors. The recommendation is the Council adopts the revised internal dispute resolution procedure. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. Do I have a mover? Councillor Morgan, seconder. Councillor Temby. Councillor Morgan to introduce.
Thank you very much. This is a really important element of local government. I think we do a lot of public-facing stuff on the outside of this organisation that people see at home, but this is a very large organisation with a lot of people in it, and everyone deserves to be treated with respect. So I'm very happy to see the attention being put on internal dispute resolution.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Temby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So in addition to Councillor Morgan's comments, this document helps to strengthen council leadership capability and conduct. It improves early intervention and effective dispute resolution and strengthens oversight mechanisms. It should be supported.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Any other comments from the floor? Councillor Morgan, you happy to put to the vote?
Please do.
All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Item 9 are the statutory reports. 9.1, informal meeting of councillors. Can I have a mover for the motion? Councillor Tassari, seconder. Councillor Bell. Councillor
Put
Tassari.
to vote. Oh, no, happy to not talk to it, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Bell, put to the vote. All
Put
those
to
in
vote.
favour? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. 9.2, Planning and Building Statistics, January 2026. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Morgan, seconder. Councillor Thompson. Wish to speak, Councillor Morgan?
No, this one's largely procedural without downplaying the important role that our planning team are making in a very important part of our role as council.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Thompson?
Yes, I totally agree with Councillor Morgan. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Given we have no objections, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. 9.3, contracts awarded and or extended under CEO delegation for January and February 2026. Do I have a mover? Councillor Temby, seconder. Councillor Bauer. Wish to speak, Councillor Temby?
No comments. Put it to the vote from my perspective.
Councillor Bauer, you're happy? All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. 9.4, Chief Executive Officer Report to Council Community Asset Committee's Annual Report. Can I have a mover? Councillor Temby. Seconder? Councillor Bell. Wish to speak, Councillor Temby?
Just very briefly, thank you, Madam Mayor. Community asset committees provide very valuable asset management services and are a valued resource for their local community as well as for the council. They need encouragement and support, and we value the report provided.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Councillor Bell, you wish to say anything? No? In the interest of no objections, I'll put that straight to the vote. All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you, councillors. 9.5, receipt of Audit and Risk Committee minutes, 26th of November 2025. Do I have a mover?
Who was there?
Red.
Councillor Tassari. Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Seconder?
No.
Councillor Thompson. Wish to speak, Councillor Tassari?
No, and I apologise, Madam Mayor, I have a slight emergency going on at home, so.
Do you wish to?
No.
No?
That's
Councillor
fine.
Thompson, you happy to?
Yes, put it for the vote. Thank
All
you,
those
Madam
in
Mayor.
all those in favour of the recommendation? That's carried. Do you want to?
No, it's all right, we're nearly done.
Okay. Urgent business.
There is one.
None?
Okay, that's sorry. Yeah, that comes out later. All right, next item 11 is the announcement of our next meeting of council, which will be held on the 15th of April 2026 at Wonthaggi Civic Centre Council Chamber, commencing at 1 p.m. I am now closing the meeting to the members of the public pursuant to Section 66 of the Local Government Act 2020 to consider items as they deal with personal information, being information which, if released, would result in the unreasonable disclosure of information about any person or their personal affairs, and private commercial information being information provided by a business, commercial or financial undertaking that, if released, would unreasonably expose the business, commercial or financial undertaking to disadvantage. Can I have a mover for this, please? Councillor Temby, seconder. Councillor Thompson. All those in favour? We got you there. Thank you, Councillor Edwards, and that is carried. I now thank all those watching the live stream of Council's meeting, and the meeting will now be adjourned at 2:31 p.m.